Okay, now we will pay homage to the Buddha by reciting Namo Tassa 3 times. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Today we will continue the next noble truth. Last week we have already talked about the noble truth of suffering and everything in detail. So we have already explained the object of vipassana is the noble truth of suffering and the noble truth of the origin of suffering. So now we can start talking about the noble truth of the origin of suffering. So as we have already mentioned in the note, and because what is the noble truth of the origin of dukkha? That means dukkha means suffering. The origin of dukkha is a craving which gives rise to fresh rebirths. So that means our craving can produce new life, new existences. These are the origin of suffering. Then accompanied by pleasure and passion. So, of course, we love our life, accompanied by pleasure and passion. Find great delights in this or that existence. Here we can say tata binandini in Pali. So this one is the translation of tata binandini in Pali, right? Find great delight in this or that existences. So that means whatever life we have, we love it. As a human being, we have many enjoyments. Similarly, as an animal or as a divine beings, as a Brahma, they also have their own enjoyments. That is why they also love their life. They also have attachment to their life. But now, okay, we are human beings. When seeing animal, oh, I don't wish to be this kind of beings. But when we were born as dog or any other animals, actually we like our life. We also love our life. That's what we call pinandini. Whatever existence we were born, any kind of existences we were born, that we were like it, we will love it. That's why this is called pinandini. The craving for pleasure of senses. We can also say 5 sensual pleasure. So that means we have very strong craving or very strong attachment to 5 senses, sensual pleasures. Then another craving for better existences. So now we are human beings. Actually, we expect better lifestyle. Everybody expects better lifestyles. So we also have craving for it. If we have to be born as a human being again, sure, we will expect better life again. Then the craving for non-existences. So, okay, here we have to explain a little bit more about craving. So craving alone is also called the origin of suffering. So craving for better existences. Actually, this one is associated with wrong view, eternalism, sometimes. So when the craving arises together with wrong view, eternalism, this is also the origin of suffering. Sometimes craving also arises together with annihilation view. craving for non-existence. In this case, the craving is also can be considered as the craving and wrong view. Both of them are the origin of suffering. Okay, briefly, craving alone or craving that associated with greed, or sorry, wrong view. Any of them can be considered as the origin of suffering. Then in reality, we also have many other explanations according to 𝐕𝐤𝐬𝐬𝐻. In the 𝐕𝐤𝐬𝐬𝐻, it mentioned what are the origin of suffering according to 𝐕𝐤𝐬𝐬𝐻. So here mentioned the craving. We have already talked about craving, lobha. This is very easy to understand. We also have already talked about the nature of lobha. It's like a glues to catch money or to catch monkey. Or it can be attachment to something or somebody. All these things can be considered as craving. Then two, craving and all other defilements. As we have known, craving alone cannot arise. It will arise together with associated mental factors. Now we already mentioned in our previous topic, right? Previous one, right? Previous slide. We mentioned craving also associated with wrong view. Actually, wrong view is also one of the defilements. Okay, briefly, craving and all other defilements are also called the origin of suffering. They can produce new life. Actually, as long as we have defilements, we may accumulate many new karma. Then all the new karma can produce new life. That's one. The third one, all the unwholesome dhammas. So not only defilements, all the unwholesome dhammas. We also have unwholesome mental factors, unwholesome consciousnesses. Then all of these things also can produce new life, new existences. That is why they are also called the origin of suffering. Number four, all the unwholesome dhammas and unwholesome roots, greed, hatred, and delusion, which are the object of mental intoxicants and the cause of cycle of revolts. So that means sometimes when we have mental intoxicants, it will take many different objects. So any kind of unwholesome dhamma, unwholesome roots, they can take the ones that the object of mental intoxicants can be considered as the origin of suffering. Also, they are also the cause of cycle of revolts. We had to be reborn in many lives, sometimes in the same existences, sometimes in different existences. We have to be reborn many times. Then they are also called the origin of suffering. The five, all the wholesome and unwholesome karmas, which are the object of mental intoxicants and causes of cycle of revolts. Okay, if we summarize, defilements are also the origin of suffering, and karma are also the origin of suffering. That's why for arhats, they don't have defilements. That is why they haven't accumulated, they will never accumulate new karma. That's why no more new revolts. So for ordinary people, Sotapanna, Sakadagami, Anagami, they have defilements. That is why they will accumulate new karmas and they will be reborn in the new lives. So if we say briefly, these are the origin of suffering according to 𝐕𝐤𝐬𝐻. Then we have the next one. And because what is the noble truth of the cessations of dukkha and the cessation of suffering? But here I just mentioned very brief introductions. It is the complete extinction and cessation of this very craving. So only cessation, extinctions of craving. Although here we just say craving, actually it also covers greed, not only like hatred, delusion, right, or any other defilements. Then it's abandoning and discarding, and the liberation and detachment from it. So that means whenever we talk about nibbana, it's cessations of all types of cravings or defilements. Then also it's cessations of namarupas. That's why there's no more attachment to namarupas. But here I didn't write down in the slides because we have already talked about nibbana in the anosity, recollections, especially recollection of peacefulness, upasmasati. Right? At the time we talk about recollection of nibbana. But there's something I didn't mention in that topic, so that's why I have to elaborate a little bit more about it. I didn't mention in the slides now. Okay, so when we study Vidhamata Sangha, we can find Saupadisesa and Anupadisesa Nibbana. Saupadisesa means, although we have attained Nibbana, the cessations of defilements, but we still have a resultant aggregates. For example, there's arahats. They may have attained arhatship. They have attained Nibbana, but they still have aggregates. They still have karma produced materialities, although they don't accumulate new karma. They are all karma still given the result. So that means after enlightenment, attaining arhatship, before entering Nibbana, the arhats may have Saupadisesa Nibbana. There will be resultant aggregates, but no more defilements. We also have Anupadisesa, the cessations of defilements and resultant aggregates. That means for arhats, after attaining arhatship, after entering Nibbana, no more defilements, no more resultant aggregates. This is called Anupadisesa Nibbana. Actually, there are many other definitions of Nibbana. As you have already know, Nibbana is we cannot say Nibbana is anicca, right? Because this is an everlasting peace. We cannot say Nibbana is a dukkha, right? It's not rising and perishing. We cannot say Nibbana is, we can say Nibbana is anatta. It does not belong to us. It's its own nature. Right? We cannot take over as our own personal use. Anyway, the main thing is, actually there are many definitions of Nibbana, very many things in detail about it. But it would be too long to explain here. But we should go to the characteristics, the function, and the manifestations of Nibbana. So Santi Lakkhana has peace as its characteristics. So that means peacefulness is its characteristics. The Achyuti Rasam is a function is not to die. That's why we also say, right? Achyuta. Normally that was a deathless sometimes. Achyuti also can be considered as a deathless. Sometimes we use the Pali word amata. Amata. Means negative, as in negative meaning. Mata means death. But no death. That's why deathless. But here we just use special Pali word Achyuti Rasa. Its function is not to die. Then here, asasa, garana, rasam. This is another definition of rasa. Its function is to comfort. Asasa means comfort. That means when we attain nibbana, it's comfortable. No more stress, no more depressions, and no more pain in nibbana. That's why this is called comfort. Animita Petupatana is manifested as the sightless. That means no sign of formation, sankhara. So we can say in Bali, sankhara nimitta. The animita means no more sankhara nimitta. So sometimes when we talk about sankhara formation, people also can get confused. Here, sankhara means all the nama rupas that arise in three existences. That means we have human existence. We also have, okay, we can say karma, right? Karma means sensual sphere. Another thing is fine material or immaterial. So three existences. So any nama rupas that arise in three existences can be considered as sankhara. So in the nibbana, there's no sankhara dhamma. That's what it's called silence. No more sign of formation. Then the last one is Nipapancha Pachupatthana is manifested as no diversification. We can also say another way. Papancha means no more prolonging. So whenever we talk about papancha, the papancha means we consider like a lova also called papancha. Piti also called papancha. Mana is also called papancha. Prolonging factors. So here, nipapancha, no more prolonging factors. That's one here called. It is manifested as no diversification or no prolonging. So these are the characteristics, the function, and the manifestations of nibbana. Actually, we have to explain many other things about. We should explain many other things about nibbana, such as amada, right, deathless, ragakaya, the destructions of lust, dosakaya, destructions of dosa. Dosa means fear, worry, stress, displeasure. Also, mohakaya, destructions of delusion. So all the things are also synonyms of nibbana. Actually, we can find many other synonyms in the dictionary. That's why it will take very long time to explain nibbana. Because the main thing is, whenever we talk about nibbana, we have to understand the destructions of all the aggregates. In the nibbana, there's no more aggregates. That's why nibbana is free from aggregates. You may remember when we talk about five aggregates, nibbana is an exception. Nibbana is excluded. Okay, now we have to move to the next topic. The noble truth of the exposition of noble truths of the path leading to the cessations of suffering. So here in this case, we have to understand Noble Eightfold Paths. So I should introduce all the Noble Eightfold Paths here mentioned. And because what is the Noble Truth of path leading to the cessations of suffering? It's the Noble Eightfold Paths. Right? We call right view, right thoughts, right speech, right action, right livelihoods, right efforts, right mindfulness, and right concentration. Everybody knows this Noble Eightfold Paths. This is a very common topic in Buddha's teaching. But today I have to elaborate a little bit more about the Noble Eightfold Paths. So it will take a little bit time to understand. So we will start with right view. What's it really called? Right view. Then Buddha also mentioned the next one, right view. The next slide. So, and because what's the right view? The mention inside knowledge of dukkha. Inside knowledge of the origin of dukkha. Okay, inside knowledge of dukkha. That means the knowledge of suffering. That means understanding the nature of suffering. Inside knowledge of origin of dukkha. That means understanding the origin of suffering. Then inside knowledge of the cessation of dukkha. That means understanding the nature of the cessation of suffering. Inside knowledge of the path leading to the cessation of dukkha. So that means understanding the Noble Eightfold Paths clearly. So we have already talked about Noble Eightfold Paths. We also have already talked about Four Noble Truths in brief. Now we are talking about Four Noble Truths in detail. So this is called right view. Then we also have the characteristics, function, manifestations of right view, according to the commentary. So characteristics of right view is Samma Dasana Lakkhana. The next one, the characteristics. Okay, Samma Dasana Lakkhana, right? This has right seeing as its characteristics. So here we have already mentioned right seeing. And seeing the right things, seeing the true things. In the case of right view, it must be ultimate reality. Those one we can say Samma Dasana. Then we have another one, Dhatu Bhagasana Rasa. His function is to reveal elements. So then it will mention, it will reveal the elements. So we have explained many things about elements in the past. Then we have the manifestation. The manifestation, oh yeah. Avijjanda kara vijansana pachupatthana. It is manifested as ablution of darkness of ignorance. So then when we have right view, we can overcome darkness of ignorance. When we study in many suttas, from time to time, the Buddha also say, sporadically when you go and read the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, 𝐏𝐿 𝐸𝐻 ඥාන 𝐸𝐻 and so forth. After that, also mention āloka 𝐸𝐻, the light appear. So that means like a knowledge is like a brightness, the light. Ignorance is like a darkness. That's why here we just say darkness of ignorance. So when we have right view, we don't have ignorance. We may see the right things. We can remove the darkness of ignorance. The witness may be spoil or destroy. So these are the characteristics, function, and manifestations of right view. Actually, right view also equal to knowledge or wisdom. We have mentioned and the mental factors. And because what is it? Right thinking. So you can also imagine what's called right thinking, right? So I mentioned thoughts directed to the liberations from sensuality. We call nikama vitaka. Thoughts of renunciation. Thoughts free from evil. That means apayapata vitaka. There are also thoughts free from cruelty. Thoughts of non-cruelty, we can also translate something like that. Okay, briefly, we have three right thoughts. Contrary to these three right thoughts, we also have three wrong thoughts. Okay, thoughts of sensuality is a wrong thought. Now here, thoughts of liberation, thoughts of renunciation. So here, thoughts related to liberation from sensuality, that means thoughts of renunciation. If we cannot give up sensuality, we cannot improve in our meditation. That's why it's also important to have nikama vitaka, thoughts of renunciation or thoughts of liberation from sensuality. Thoughts free from evil. So we can also say goodwill. We might have a goodwill. So when we say goodwill, it's also something similar to metta. When we have metta, we have goodwill. Thoughts of non-cruelty. This also here mentioned thoughts free from cruelty. This also equal to karuna. When we have compassion, then we may not be cruel. Okay, these are the right thoughts. Actually, we have already mentioned many things about vitaka in the past. But now here we just change in the Pali word sankappa, samma sankappa, or samma sankappo, if we conjugate fully, right? Samma sankappo. But in Myanmar, sometimes we just use without conjugation, samma sankappa. Anyway, so we have to continue the characteristics, function, and manifestation. The samma binirodhana lakkhana. This characteristics is right direction of the mind on to its object. So sometimes when we say sankappa, then we also translate as a thoughts. You know, that's why people misunderstand. Oh, then when we are meditating, we have a lot of thoughts. But here in this case, we can say directing the mind to the object. This is called vitaka or sankappa. Actually, we have already explained all these topics and the mental factors, especially the formation brigade and the formation brigades. Then apana raso, its function is to bring about absorption of the path consciousness and nirvana as objects. So that means here we are going to talk about noble truth, right? That's why the right thoughts, we can say samma sankappa, where direct the mind to the nirvana objects, then it will absorb on the nirvana objects. That's called apana rasa. Actually, similar thing can be found in vitaka. We have mentioned in the mental factors. Okay, so now another one is miccha sankappa pahana pachupatthano. It's manifested as abandoning of wrong thinking. So we can also imagine wrong thinking, right? Miccha sankappa. We have already talked about miccha sankappa. Thoughts of sensuality, thoughts of evil, thoughts of cruelty. These are called wrong thoughts. So it's like abandoning of wrong thoughts. This is called miccha sankappa pahana pachupatthano. So these are the characteristics, function, manifestations of samma sankappa, right thoughts. Then we have to continue right speech. And because the right speech, abstaining from falsehoods, from backbiting, from coarse speech, from vain and unbeneficial talk. But here we can also understand abstaining from telling a lie, musawada, abstaining from Visunawacha. Visunawacha means actually destroying or spoiling people's love. Okay, we have many. Okay, here I should elaborate a little bit more about Visunawacha, right? Visunawacha is come from Bali word Piya Sunya Karana. Piya means love. Sunya means zero or divide. Karana means making. So that means he was destroying love between two people. That's why we call Piya Sunya Karana. We call Pisuna. So briefly, naturally, they have very good relationship because of our speech. They will be divided into two different groups, or maybe they will quarrel. In this case, we can understand as Pisuna Vacha. Yeah, we can say backbiting. Another one is abusive speech. Now you're finished with the previous one. Abusive speech, right? So when we say abusive speech, it will be many different ways of abusive words. Actually, recently I have already talked about abusive words in Paudoya because currently I'm in given Ovara every weekend, especially every Eve of study in the one monastery. I'm just talking about 10 precepts. At the time, I explain something about abusive words. Okay, for your understanding, I will just summarize some of the abusive speech, right? Abusive speech doesn't mean we have to use taboo or something. Sometimes they just like talking about race or rationality or the nationality. Right? Sometimes we just, for example, now among the Dhamma listeners, some of the people will be Chinese, some may be Vietnamese, some will be Burmese. There can be some other nationality also. Sometimes oh, you Vietnamese are like this. You Chinese are like this. You Burmese are like this. If we say like that, we dislike. This can be considered as abusive word, lineage or nationality. Sometimes like a family name. By using a family name, then we can also, if we can also like abuse somebody, right? This also can be considered as abusive words. Then, okay, another one is like, for example, body shaming in modern society is very clear, right? Nobody like body shaming. So body shaming is also abusive words. Because the different appearance of people, then we just criticize their appearance, something like that. This is called abusive words. Okay, so another one is like offense or like occupations. Some of the occupations are not that good, right? They have to do some unwholesome things. For example, like prostitution, right? Then they have to work with their body. So that means occupations or lineage or family name or body shaming, anything can be considered as abusive words. Although we speak politely with smiling face, if something understandable for the listeners, it will become abusive words. We must be careful. That's the useless talk. Actually, a very, very big topic about useless talk, right? Such as like talk about the ocean, talk about the earth, or talk about stars or something like that. There are many, many, many topics. But they are called wrong speech. Okay, now we have to continue the characteristics, the function, and then the manifestations of right speech. So here I mentioned Parikaha Lakana is the characteristics of embracing. Yeah, Parikaha, right? We're going to take in. Also, we have like a Ramana Rasa. His function is to abstain. Those are very easy, right? If we don't have abstinence, we cannot have right speech. Another one is Miccha Vacha Pahana Petupatana is manifested as abandoning of wrong speech. Here we talk about Miccha Vacha in the chapter of Sila, right? Then whatever wrong speech we use, it will be Miccha Vacha. But down here, Pahana means abandoning. So no more Miccha, no more wrong speech. This can be considered as the right speech, right? Okay, so that means this is the manifestations of right speech. So actually, when we talk about right speech, there are many other things we have to explain. For example, we have like many different types of speech. Talk about morality, talk about concentration, talking about diligence or the benefit of diligence, or the benefit of efforts. Talk about contentment. All the things can be considered as a right speech. There are many. It will be a very big topic for about right speech. So anyway, as long as we are telling the truth, also beneficial for the listeners, then we can say this is the right speech. Sometimes it will be something harmful for listener. Not all the truth are desirable, right? Some of the truth are undesirable. So sometimes the truth things will be harmful for other people. So in this case, we have to be wise to express or to say this kind of things. Okay, this is about right speech. Then we also have right action. So because what is the right action? Abstaining from killing, from taking what is not given, or from wrongful indulgence and sensual pleasures. This is the bhikkhu called right actions. We have already explained many things about 5 precepts in the past, especially in the chapter of Sila. We also have already explained something about killing, right? When we say killing, for example, like ordering somebody to kill, or our command, right? Somebody to kill other living beings, or we ourselves kill, or maybe we make a trap, or we just make snare to catch living beings or to kill living beings. All the things can be considered as killing, right? So anyway, we have already explained many things about 5 precepts in the past, so it should not be that much in detail now. Similarly, for our stealing, we have already explained many different ways of stealing. For our sensual pleasure, also, sexual misconduct. We have already explained about sexual misconduct in the past. That's why we don't need to explain here very much in detail. Okay, so now we should continue talking about the characteristics, function, and manifestation. So whenever we talk about right actions, I mentioned samutta pana lakkhano is the characteristics of originating. Actually, samutta pana also can be producing. That means when we have body actions, we produce something. Then Vilamana Rasa is same to previous one, right? Actually, all the right speech, right action, right thoughts, we have already, sorry, no, right thought, we don't mention. For about right speech, we have already mentioned Vilamana Rasa, right? Its function is to abstain. The Miccha, sorry, the Miccha Kamanta Pahana Pachupatano is manifested as the abandoning of wrong action. This is also a little bit similar to previous one, right? Every right speech also mentioned Miccha Vacha Pahana, abandoning of wrong speech. Here also abandoning of wrong action. So that means if we kill wrong actions, stealing, wrong actions. Such may conduct wrong actions. If we can abandon wrong action, there will be right action. They are also called manifestation. Okay, now we have to move. Another one. And because the right livelihoods, it will be too long, right? Because the area disciple following my teaching completely abstain from wrong ways of livelihoods and make it his living by right means of livelihoods. Here it just mentioned very simple way. Actually, we have already explained many wrong livelihoods in the past, such as fortune telling, especially for bhikkhu. We must not do fortune telling. If we do fortune telling, this is wrong livelihood. Not only that, we may have many other things. For example, like giving flowers, fruits, medicine to the lay devotees. All these things can be considered as also pula to saka, destroying people's faith. Also, if we can get something from the devotee because of this kind of present or given, then this also can be considered as a wrong livelihood. We are not allowed to use this kind of things. Then for lay devotees, we have already mentioned many times about it, like weapon trade, poison trade, meat trade, human trafficking, right? So then we also have wrong livelihood mentioned in the Pali canons. All these are called wrong livelihoods. Now, not other like a liquor trade, right? Alcohol, something like that. This is also called wrong livelihoods. So if we have right livelihoods, this is also called morality. So actually, right speech, right actions, right livelihood, these three are morality. We already explained everything about it in the morality chapter. Now we can continue talking about characteristics, function, and manifestation. The characteristics of Otana Lekano. It has the characteristics of cleaning. Actually, Otana means cleansing. Otana means purity, pure. It makes our life pure. What does it mean pure? That means no more, we don't feel guilty. Although, because we don't have wrong view, right? That we don't have wrong actions, wrong speech, wrong livelihood, that's fine. We don't have, we feel guilty. This is called purity of the mind. Then we also have another one. Nyaya Jiva Poverty Raso. Its function is to bring about occurrence of proper livelihoods. Nyaya means proper. Nyaya Jiva, that means Nyaya Ajiva. Ajiva means livelihoods. Poverty means bring or occurrence. So, anyway, the main thing is, its function is, right, to bring about occurrence of proper livelihoods. I mean, when we have proper livelihoods, then this is not very, very obvious. Mecha Jiva Pahana Patupatana is manifested as the abandoning of wrong livelihoods. So, actually, for about wrong livelihood, we have already mentioned many things in detail in the chapter of Sila. We can review all the things, right? So these are called right speech, right actions, and right livelihoods. Now we have to move to the next topic, right efforts. And because what's it, right efforts? So here we mention 4 different types of right efforts. Bhikkhus. The bhikkhu following my teaching generates, will make efforts, arouses energy, applying his mind, and striving most urgently to prevent the arising of evil deleterious states of the mind that have not yet arisen. So in this very life, there are many, many unwholesome deeds we have never tried or we have never done in the past, in this very life. Of course, in the samsara, we have already done many kinds of the unwholesome deeds. We have done all the unwholesome deeds, we can say. Samsara is so long. So here in the case of right efforts, we have to make efforts. We must arouse this energy. We must apply our minds, and we have to strike more urgently to prevent from new unwholesome deeds, new unwholesome actions, new unwholesome thoughts. This is called right efforts. And two, to abandon evil material states of mind that have arisen. In this very life, we have done many unwholesome deeds. Some of the unwholesome deeds are habitual. So we have to change. We have to give up all of the unwholesome actions we used to do. For this kind of abandonment also, we need very strong efforts. That's why I mentioned, generate will, make efforts, arouse this energy, applying his mind, and strivings most urgently. So that means to give up our bad behaviors or wrong actions, we have to put our mental power or bodily energy. If we can give up successfully, that means we have very strong mind power. Actually, if we summarize the first two, don't do new unwholesome deeds. Also, please stop doing all unwholesome deeds we used to do. It's not that easy, right? So here I have to introduce a few more things about Vidya. Actually, I have already talked about it in the past, but just revision. So whenever we talk about Vidya, we have bodily energy, we have mental energy. If we use body energy and mental energy properly, we have right efforts. We just use our mental energy or bodily energy improperly, that is it, wrong efforts. Sometimes we spend our time by doing many unwholesome deeds. In this case, wasting energy, wrong efforts. Sometimes we spend our times, we use our efforts to accumulate wholesome deeds. At the time, we have right efforts. But we use both mental energy and bodily energy. Okay, 3. To attain material states of minds that have not yet arisen. Of course, in this very life, there are many, many wholesome deeds we have never tried. We have never done. So we have to do new wholesome deeds. For example, if we used to meditate 1 hour a day, okay, try to increase 1/2 an hour a day, 2 hours a day, something like that. This is called increasing. So we may have never experiences, okay, now soon we may have like a Katina ceremony, right? So even I myself, sometimes went to be Katina donor. I also have done one time in past. Anyway, the main thing is there are many, many wholesome deeds we have never tried before. There are many types of dharana we have never tried. Okay, do it. There are many types of sila, morality, we have never tried. Do it. For example, Upasatha sila, 8 precepts, 9 precepts, 10 precepts. Laywomen also can undertake 10 precepts. Laymen also can undertake 10 precepts. That's why there are many new wholesome deeds we have never done before when we do it. Similarly now, meditation. There are many meditation methods taught by the Buddha. We have never tried before. Then you also say, oh, meditation is a very big volume, right? It will take very long time to meditate. But although it's very big volume, there are many things we have to add into it. For example, like Kamanubhasana in Vipassana Sutta, we have the chapter of hindrances. Previously, one pastor was in morning. I approached and asked him, Sarah, why are you going to teach us Nirvana Papa, the chapter of hindrances, according to Vipassana Sutta? Then Sarah said, very simple way, you can do by yourself, because if you know unwholesome mental patterns, if you know how to discern unwholesome mental process, you can discern hindrances. That's why I don't teach. Then similarly, I think Pausha will teach the Salayana method, right? So we can say bases. We have also talk about 12 bases, right? Salayana method. At the time, we just say Salayana means 6 bases. 6 internal bases, 6 external bases. That's what we call Salayana. So Pausha will start teaching Salayana method in 2010 retreat, 6-month retreat. Before that, he didn't teach. So there are many new things we have to do. There are many things we don't teach in Paodoya. But by learning all the method and power, so we can also do by ourselves. Okay, briefly, there are many wholesome deeds we have never done before. There are many types of undertaking precepts we have never tried before. There are many meditation methods we have never tried before. We have to do it. We have to try to experience it. This is called the third one, right? To attain the mature state of mind that have not yet arisen. Number 4, to maintain the mature states of mind that have arisen. So now in our daily life, we are doing many wholesome deeds. We are very familiar with wholesome deeds. Maintain all these wholesome qualities, good actions or good speech or anything. For example, if we are meditating 1 hour a day, we maintain at the least. If we can improve, sure, it will be better. Similarly, undertaking precepts. Once a week, 8 precepts, for example. If we used to do it, maintain that kind of habit. If possible, try to improve more than that. So if we summarize that and fourth, we have to do new wholesome deeds. Or we have to maintain all wholesome deeds. We are used to do it. So these are called right efforts. Okay, if we summarize, to prevent and to abandon unwholesome state of mind. We need mind power. We also need body energy. Similarly, to attain new unwholesome states or to maintain the habitual wholesome states, we also need our mind power, our body energy. They are called the efforts. Okay, now we can continue talking about the characteristics, the function, and the manifestations of these right efforts. Pekha Lekano, this has the characteristics of exalting. Actually, Pekha also came like a support. it will support all other mental factors to be stronger. Sometimes we also say supreme efforts, within activity. When it becomes very strong and powerful, then it is a very strong mind power, a very strong body energy. If we are very diligent, we can achieve anything we like. This is also called supporting. Another is anupanna akusala nupadana di raso. Actually, yeah, anupadana di raso. Di raso. Its function is not arousing of unprofitable things and so on. Adi means so on, etc. Okay, that means we have already mentioned 4 types of right efforts. Right? The function is the non-arousing of unprofitable things. That means 4 types of wrong efforts. Okay, non-arousing of wrong effort, we can say like that. The Metta Vayama Pahana Patipatthana is manifested as the abandoning of wrong efforts. So, this is also similar to previous one. Contrary to previous 4. For example, the first one, to prevent. We don't prevent from unwholesome minds. We just allow them to arise. This is called Metta Vayama. The second one is to abandon unwholesome states. They have already arisen. That means habitual unwholesome deeds. So we just allow habitual unwholesome actions to rise. This is also called Metta Vayama, wrong efforts. Then the third one is to attain or to achieve new wholesome deeds. But here, we don't try to achieve new wholesome deeds. We stop. Then 4, maintain the wholesome deeds, habitual wholesome deeds. So in this case, we don't maintain good habits. This is called Metta Vayama. So manifestation is abandoning of wrong efforts. These are called one of the Noble Truth, right? Samma Vayama. Then we can also continue talking about the next one. What's the right concentration? Sorry, right mindfulness, sorry. What's the right mindfulness, sorry? Right mindfulness. So bhikkhus, following my teaching, keeps his mind satisfactory on the body, feeling, mind, and Dhamma with diligence, comprehension, and mindfulness, thus keeping away covetousness and distrust. Actually, when we talk about right mindfulness, this means 4 foundations of mindfulness. It will be too long to explain about 4 foundations of mindfulness. So here we just mentioned teaching keeps his mind steadfastly on the body. Then we can say body contemplation. So our mind will focus on the body. It can be both samatha and vipassana. For example, when we talk about for the anapanasati and 4 elements, asava, also we also have that is the body parts, right? So all the things can be considered as samatha. So they also cover vipassana. That means if we can discern all the ultimate reality, materialities, then we can also discern down, or We can also discern their causes. All of them can be considered as a body contemplation. Similarly, feeling. Feeling alone cannot arise. It will arise together with other mental factors. Other mental factors means such as perceptions, consciousness, also one-pointedness, life faculties, and so forth. They will arise together with many other mental factors and consciousness. Then we can focus on feeling. We can also know all other dhammas. In this case, we can say feeling contemplation. For the mind, even in the Buddhist, even in the Satipatthana Sutta, it mentions many different types of minds. For example, Saragan Chitan, Udaragan Chitan, it mentioned like this. Saragan Chitan means the mind that associates with the lust. Udaragan Chitan means the associated with lust. That means no more attachments. If we say another way, wholesome mind and unwholesome mind. Also, consciousness or the minds cannot arise alone. They will arise together with mental factors. Therefore, about Dhamma, it will be too wide. Right? Even in Mahasamitra, it mentioned like a Hinduism chapter. We also have the element factor, Bhojanga chapters, Kanda, aggregate, Irana, bases. There are many, although the four novel truths were very wide, right? Novel truth, very wide. So we can find very big information about Dhamma. So if we can write this all the way like this, we can say what mindfulness. But he also mentioned with the diligence, comprehension, mindfulness. So that means, although we say mindfulness, it will arise together with efforts. Comprehension is like a wisdom. Mindfulness is sati. We already mentioned many times, right? So efforts, wisdom, and mindfulness, they will arise together. So here we can say only three mental factors, three spiritual power. Diligence, we can also say efforts. Comprehension, we can also say panya, wisdom. Mindfulness and mindfulness, sati. But whenever we talk about these three, then, for example, comprehension, the mindfulness are wholesome mental factors. Whenever they arise, they will arise together with concentration, right? Concentration. Then we may have, you may remember 5 controlling faculties, right? Among 5 controlling faculties, then we have already mentioned different groups, right? For example, saddha. We have already mentioned concentration and intelligence, efforts. If we cannot balance these two, we cannot concentrate well. Similarly, comprehension and saddha, panya and saddha. If we cannot balance these two, we cannot practice well. That's why, although it just mentioned 3 mental factors, it covers 5 controlling faculties, 5 spiritual powers. Then, by practicing like this, our mind can be free from covetousness and distress. This is called right mindfulness. Now we can also continue talking about the manifestation, characteristics, function, manifestations of mindfulness. Actually, similar thing can be found in the Sankara Kanda, in the formation aggregate. They are mentioned Upatthana Lakkhana. It has the characteristics of establishment. Actually, Upatthana means it's like a foundation. Our mind will get in touch with objects, right? Foundation. Asamusa rasa, its function is not to forget. Of course, when we have mindfulness, we are not forgetful. If we don't have mindfulness, we will be forgetful. Especially here, forgetful means we forget to do Osanji, this is called samosa, right? Then Mechasati Patana is also manifested as abandoning of wrong mindfulness. So we can also say, if we remember many wrong things, right? This is also a kind of perception, sanya. We already mentioned, right? Sometimes after doing many things wrong, we also feel guilty. We call remorse. Actually, many of foreigners who came to Cambodia, they may have heard this kind of speech. Most of them just use this kind of things whenever they have some defilements or they have some negative thoughts in their minds, or when they have some difficulty, especially when they have depression. And sometimes they come to say, oh, man, today I have a lot of anger, I have a lot of anxiety, I have a lot of worry, a lot of fear. When they report this kind of things, I just say, don't recall this kind of things. What I didn't recommend us to recall loba, dosa, moha, mana, or anything, right? So most also use the Pali word. What I didn't teach us, loba no sati, dosa no sati, moha no sati, mana no sati. Right? I just say that kind of things. Because sometimes metta sati means if we remember only bad things or negative things, at that time we can say metta sati. Wrong perceptions also. So in the case of manifestation, the manifestation is as abandoning of wrong mindfulness. Okay, that means remembering wrong things. Okay, now we have to move to the last one about right concentration. And what is it? And bhikkhus, what is it? Right concentration. This is very common questions. Mostly people have already learned many meditation methods from many different teachers. Then when we go and read in Mahasivthana Sutta, we can find this kind of topic. Also put this kind of question. And because what is the right concentration? As I mentioned, they are the first jhana, the second jhana, the third jhana, and the fourth jhana. When we go and study in the canonical text, it will be very many things in detail. For example, like the far from defilements, secluded from hindrances, essential pleasure, but applying initial obligation, sustained obligation. So a very long paragraph for the first jhana. Similarly for second jhana, the third jhana, the fourth jhana, it will be very long passage. If we summarize, we can say only 4 jhanas are called right concentration according to Pali Canon. Because sometimes it is sensitive. Some meditators, especially some foreigners, they don't want to accept commentary. Then for them, they accept only the Pali Canon. So that means they must attain the first jhana, the second jhana, the third jhana, the fourth jhana. In the commentary, we have some additional explanations or some allowance. That is as a concentration of all jhanas. Also, as a concentration of first jhana, also first jhana, right? The second jhana, third jhana, fourth jhana. Not only that, immaterial jhanas. So here we just mentioned 4 material jhanas. That's why it also cover asset concentrations and also cover immaterial jhanas. They are called right concentrations. Sometimes people also ask frequently about momentary concentration. Actually, in the chapter of Anapanasati, I have already explained momentary concentration. Previous February, I have been to Cambodia. Then when we visited Angkor Wat, my driver, asked many questions about meditation. Okay, so we have, okay, when we are in Cambodia, the mind driver asked many questions about meditation. In his meditation, he just talked about vipassana. What's momentary concentration? Can we practice vipassana? Then I just talked to him, okay, what's momentary concentration? It's not very clear to him also. Fortunately, one Cambodian bhikkhu in the same car can speak Pali. So I just gave him the source reference from commentary. Then he explained, right? It's easier. Okay, sometimes we also misunderstand about momentary concentrations. Okay, so for example, when we go and read Parajika commentary, Prisambhidhamaka or Visuddhimagga commentary, it mentioned we must enter into any of jhana, imagine from it, when we are discerning nama-rupas and their causes. Then when we are practicing vipassana, momentary concentration arises. This is the statement in the commentary. Anyway, the main thing is, when we say right concentration, it can be two different parts. When we talk about purifications of the mind, it must be jhana. In vipassana, we also call lakhanupani jhana. That means our mind can absorb on the characteristics of nama-rupas. This can be considered as momentary concentration. So when we, in the case of right concentration, there will be two parts. The first part is about samatha. The second part is about vipassana. Okay, so now, okay, we should move to characteristics, function, and manifestations of right concentration. 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐚 lakhana, it has the characteristics of non-distraction. Okay, if we say 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐬, that means restlessness or distraction. So when we have right concentration, no restlessness, no distraction. Then samodhana raso, its function is to concentrate. This one's very easy. Samodhana. Right? That means concentrate or just collect or absorb on something. The miccha samadhi patupatthano. It is manifested as abandoning of wrong concentration. Okay, so here we have you may have some question about wrong concentration. What does it mean, wrong concentration? Sometimes our mind can absorb on wrong things very deeply. Actually, if we have only one thought all the time, wrong thought all the time, it becomes very dangerous. For example, Venerable Devadatta. He planned to kill the Buddha, to assassinate the Buddha. He planned very well. He brought many archers to the Bocha Peak, and he trying to assassinate the Buddha. Then you can imagine how long he thought, how smart he was. So anyway, the main thing is he just think about killing the Buddha very long time, because he can plan everything well. He also effective for some reasons. Anyway, the main thing is, if we just keep thinking wrong things all the time, this is called miccha samadhi, wrong concentrations. So if we have to do, or if we have to meditate, we must have right concentration. With wrong concentration, we cannot meditate well. If we have right concentration, we can meditate well. We can improve ourselves also. Okay, today we have already talked about Noble Eightfold Paths. We also have already talked about 3 noble truths for today. The first noble, okay, actually, when we talk about 4 noble truths in detail, the first noble truth, last week we have already mentioned, dukkha satya, the noble truth of suffering. But this week in today's Dhamma talk, we have explained the origin of suffering, the noble truth of the cessations of suffering, the noble truth of the path leading to the cessations of suffering. 4 noble truths altogether. So we have already talked about it many times. Whenever we are going to meditate, we must take dukkha satya, the noble truth of suffering, and samudaya satya, the noble truth of the origin of suffering, as objects. So dukkha satya can be can arise when we are discerning namarupas. Namarupas means after establishing concentration, we can start discerning namarupas. We call namarupa parikaha. At the time, there will be the noble truth of suffering, right? After that, we can discern cause apprehended, the cause of a relationship. We can also say cause apprehended knowledge. At the time, we can also discern samudaya satya, the origin of suffering. So in our previous topic, when we talk about brief introduction to Four Noble Truths, we have already mentioned dependent originations can be considered as the origin of suffering. We have discerned all the cause and relationship. So then Nirvana Satya and Magga Satya. Okay, if we summarize another way, we have to know the noble truth of suffering. We have to uproot or eradicate the origin of suffering. Then we have to attain or achieve the cessation of suffering. For all these 3, we have to practice the noble truth of the path leading to the cessations of suffering. That means Noble Eightfold Paths. So if we can practice Noble Eightfold Paths, we may know the first noble truth. We can uproot the second noble truth. We can realize or achieve the third noble truth. Okay, so by practicing the Buddha teaching, by following Buddha teaching, Buddha instructions, Sila Samadhi Panya, 3 trainings, and you all be able to realize final cessation and not suffering.
Dear Seattle, in Myanmar, there are some monks who help others to remove black magic or do some medical treatment without asking for payment. Are these considered wrong livelihood?
Sure, this is also wrong livelihood, sure. Right? That means Buddha didn't allow to be magician to heal other people's. There will be some exception, right? For example, our parents, we can give medicine. We can also give treatments. Our relatives, and also those who take care of our parents. Not only that, who take care of ourselves or take care of Sangha, then waiting for ordinations. So for this kind of people, it will be exception, right? For other donors or any other people, we should not give any treatment. Okay?
Thank you, Seattle. There's a second question. If bhikkhus or nuns go to these monks for such purposes, is it allowable?
Actually, we should not support this kind of people, especially for bhikkhus, right? So if we support that kind of people, then means our morality is not that good. Another thing is their properties. Okay, for example, they may offer us medicine, for example, right? That medicine also not allowable for bhikkhus because they obtain it in an allowable way. So whenever we touch it, it will be dukkha. That's why we should not accept their donations. We should not go to them. Okay, that is one.
Thank you. Question 2, dear Seattle, today Seattle mentioned that we have to use our effort properly. How do we understand properly? Question mark. Does it refer to balance effort?
Okay. So, okay, sometimes, we are very diligent in doing unwholesome deeds. At the time, it's improper efforts, wrong efforts. So we are using our efforts for wholesome deeds or wholesome actions or wholesome speech. This is called proper efforts, right? So balanced effort, sure, this is also necessary, especially when you are meditating. You may need balanced efforts. This is also called right efforts. Okay?
There's a second part to the question. Sometimes when we are doing wholesome deeds, we have to use much effort, especially when we meet with obstacles. We have to be patient and try to repeat it until successful. At that time, we may have to use much bodily and mind effort. Do we consider this as proper effort or excessive effort?
Okay, this we can say in wholesome deed, we can say it's a right effort. Okay, one more thing, in meditation, we can say excessive effort, right? For example, you just try to know breathing normally and naturally in the very beginning. Gradually, your breathing becomes very subtle. You may try to put more effort to know breathing clearly. At the time, we can say excessive effort. The more you struggle, the more you put efforts, the more you have restlessness. That is why you have to save your energy to know the breathing. So, okay, if I summarize the answer, in meditations, you should not have excessive efforts. And for about other cases, for example, like you have to go here and there to collect donations. In this case, we cannot say excessive efforts. As long as you can endure or you can feel happy, you can rejoice, it's okay.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Dear Seattle, after entering into jhana and then emerging from that, discern the arising and perishing of nama rupa. This is called Khanika Samadhi. But if someone emerged from the jhana but cannot see the nama rupa arising and perishing, can we say this is Upachara Samadhi also? This is the first question.
Upachara Samadhi is not like that, right? Upachara Samadhi means actually you have to keep knowing the samatha subjects. At the time you have Upachara Samadhi. What about momentary concentrations? You must know momentary arising and perishing of Namarupas. Right? Then this one.
Next question is Sanjanati and Sanyatva and Manyati. What are the difference between these three words?
Okay. Sanjanati. Actually, this one is Sanjanati is a present tense, right? Present tense. Sanjanati. Sanyatawa. Right? Toa. When we talk about toa, that means participle phrase. It's participle. It can be present participle. It also can be past participle. Okay, we can say participle. Sometimes is referred to present, also referred to past. Okay, we can say like according to English grammar, like okay, participle phrase also can be consequential phrase sometimes. So manyati, a little bit different. Manyati come from manati, janati, also knowing, right? So all these three words mean knowing or understanding something. That's why, according to the case, there will be different usage. According to the sentence construction, there can be different usage. But maybe sanyanati mostly refer to sanya, manyati mostly refer to mind or something refer to panya. Okay? Itta vata cha ammehi sambadam bunya sambadam sabbe deva numodandu sabbe buddha numodandu sabbe satta numodandu sabba sambati siriya Idhamme Nyatinam Hotu Sukhita Hondu Nyatayo Idhamme Nyatinam Hotu Sukhita Hondu Nyatayo Idhamme Nyatinam Hotu Sukhita Hondu Nyatayo Idhamme Punyam Asawakaya Waham Hotu Idhamme Punyam Nibbanasa Pajayo Hotu Mama Punya Bhagam Sabbasadanam Bhajami Te Sabbe Me Samam Punya Bhagam Lavandu Sadhu Sadhu Sadhu